We found out she was a ghost on Convocation Day. Imagine waking up and realizing the person you have spent years studying with never really existed. That's what happened to us. And even now, I still can't explain it. It all began on our Convocation Day at the university. I was sitting in the auditorium, dressed in my academic gown, feeling both excited and nervous. My parents were in the crowd, waving and grinning proudly. It was a big day. 4 long years of sleepless nights, endless assignments, and group projects had finally paid off. The campus was alive with excitement. Students, draped in academic gowns, beamed as they posed for pictures. Laughter, shouts, and constant hums of phone cameras filled the air. Nene and I arrived together. Her gown was folded neatly over her arm, but she didn't share the excitement buzzing around us. Nene, let's take a picture, I said, holding up my phone. She shook her head. You go ahead. I don't like pictures. Come on, I teased. It's Convocation Day. You will want to remember this. Her faint smile didn't reach her eyes. Maybe later. I shrugged it off, thinking she would come around. She always preferred to stay in the background, so I didn't press. Later, while taking a picture with a group of students, I noticed Nene in the background. One of them unintentionally snapped her as well. She seemed startled and quickly moved away. You can't avoid pictures forever, I joked when I saw her. She didn't reply. That was the last time any of us saw her. The convocation ceremony began with the speeches from the administration. Cheers erupted as each graduate's name was called, and they walked up to collect the certificates. When it was nearly my turn, I glanced around for Nene. She was gone. When her name was called, I sat up, expecting to see her stand. No one moved. The auditorium fell silent. People turned to each other confused. Suddenly, a voice broke the stillness. You just called a deceased name. A woman sitting a few rows behind me screamed, her voice trembling. Gasp rippled through the room. The woman, later identified as another graduate's mother, stood up, pointing toward the stage. Nene Area. That's the name of the girl who died 6 years ago in an accident. How is she on this list? The whispers around me grew louder, spreading like wildfire. My blood ran cold. That can't be true, I whispered. Lecturers on stage exchanged uneasy glances, while some staff members scrambled to check the records. Nene's seat was empty. Someone must have made a mistake, one lecturer said weakly, though his tone lacked conviction. The room buzzed with confusion. Students whispered nervously, some laughing, others looking genuinely shaken. The woman who had shouted refused to sit, insisting she was right. After the ceremony, I couldn't let it go. I approached the student who had taken pictures earlier that morning. Do you still have the photos? I asked. Yeah, why? Check the ones from earlier, the ones with Nene in the background. They hesitated but opened their phone. As they swiped through, my heart raced. Then they found it. In the picture, I was smiling at the camera, but Nene's image in the background was blurred and faint, almost like she wasn't really there. Who is that? One of them asked, puzzled. That's Nene, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. Who? My panic grew. How could no one remember her? I ran to the faculty office, desperate for answers. I demanded to see the list of graduates and their records. When they showed me the file, Nene Area's name was there, but next to it, in faint handwriting, was a note. Deceased 7 years ago. The room spun. That's not possible, I stammered. She's been my friend for 4 years. We've studied together, attended lectures, everything. The staff member gave me a pity look. I think you're mistaken, he said gently. Back at my hostel, I searched desperately for proof. There had to be something. A picture, a note, something to prove Nene was real. But I found nothing. No photos, no messages, no notes from our countless study section. It was as though she had been erased from my life. Just as I was about to give up, I noticed a red notebook lying on my desk. It was Nene's. My hands trembled as I flipped through its pages. Her familiar handwriting filled the notebook, each word bringing a wave of emotion. Then I found it. One page stood out. In bold letters, she had written, "Thank you for being my friend. You helped me find peace." The next day, news spread that Nene's certificate had gone missing. It was supposed to be among the others, but no one could find it. Maybe it was a clerical error, one lecturer suggested. Or maybe it was never meant to exist, someone else whispered. The university launched a quiet investigation, but the story never made it beyond the campus. We left school in a state of disbelief. How had Nene's name appeared on a graduation list? How had we all spent years with her, only for her to vanish without a trace? Even now, whenever I see a red book, I smile because even though Nene was a ghost, she was real to me. And that's all that matters. Thank you.